Hi friends! This week what we're talking about is the kite from Days with Frog and Toad. So I personally love Frog and Toad so much, so I was so excited that it was in our storybook. So this week we're going to be focusing on problem and solution. Problem means that there's something wrong and there's something they're trying to figure it out. Solution means, they figured it out. So what we're going to be doing is focusing on what exactly is the problem that they're having and what are the steps they're taking to solve this problem. Because of course, in order to solve a problem, you have to take steps to get there. So if I see that my pencil has no lead in it, in order to solve the problem, I have to put lead in my pencil, as this is a mechanical pencil. So the first thing I do, I have to notice that there's no lead. Secondly, I have to look and find where the lead is. Third, I have to put the lead in, and then poof, it's been solved. So let's read this story together. As I'm reading the story, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be filling out this worksheet. It has our problem and a solution. But the first thing it says, what do Frog and Toad want to do? So what I want you to do while I'm reading is figure out exactly what Frog and Toad want to do. The Kite from Days with Frog and Toad. Frog and Toad went out to fly a kite. They went to a large meadow where the wind was strong. "Our kite will fly up and up," said Frog. "It will fly all the way up to the top of the sky." So it says, what do Frog and Toad want to do? Well, they want to fly a kite. And we could tell that right from the beginning of the story in the title of the story. So they want to fly a kite. And of course, I'm ending my sentence with a period. Now, the next question is, what is the problem? Well, we don't know the problem yet. Let's see what the problem is. Toad said, "Frog, I will hold the ball of string. You hold the kite and run." Toad ran across the meadow. He ran as fast as his short legs could carry him. The kite went up in the air. It fell to the ground with a big bump. Toad heard laughter. 3 robins were sitting in a bush. "That kite will not fly," said the robins. "You may as well give up." Toad ran back to Frog. "Frog," said Toad, "this kite will not fly. I give up." So that's pretty sad because we always know that we never really should give up. We should always keep trying. So the problem here is the kite will not fly. So the kite will not fly. And ladies and gentlemen, you're going to be filling this out later once we are done, after you're done watching this video of me reading and explaining exactly what we're doing. So what we have so far is, what do Frog and Toad want to do? Of course, they want to fly a kite. And then it says, what is the problem? So as we just read, the problem is the kite will not fly. So what we notice is the kite will not fly. So it's kind of sad that a kite does not fly. But we also see the first try. The first try, when they're trying to fly the kite, it says that Toad runs fast to see if it'll fly in the air. So here it says he runs as fast as his short legs could carry him. So the first try, Toad runs fast. And like I said before, we always have a problem and we have to try a few times mostly to figure out the solution. So the first try, Toad runs fast. We know that it doesn't give a solution. Our solution is when the kite can fly or when they decide what they're going to do with the kite. So that's not our answer there. Let's see what happens next. We must take a second try. So the second try means the second try of their problem. So it says, "We must take a second try," said Frog. "Wave the kite over your head. Perhaps it'll make it fly." So the second try is Toad runs and waves the kite over his head. So Toad runs and waves the kite over his head. So can you imagine that? Toad running and waving like this and waving the kite over his head? Have you ever flown a kite before? Do you think that's going to help you? I don't know. Let's see. Wave the kite over your head. Perhaps that will make it fly. Toad ran back across the meadow. He waved the kite over his head. The kite went up in the air, then fell down with a thud. "What a joke," said the robins. Ooh, that's not nice. "That kite will never get off the ground." Well, first off, the robins are not being very good friends because they should be encouraging Toad and encouraging Frog to keep going. Let's see what happens next. Toad ran back to Frog. "This kite is a joke," he said. "It will never get off the ground." "We have to make a third try," said Frog. "Wave the kite over your head and jump up and down. Perhaps this will make it fly." So we have the first try was Toad ran fast. That didn't work. The second try, Toad runs and waves the kite over his head. That didn't work either. Now what Frog is telling Toad to do is to run, wave the kite over his head, and jump up and down. That could work. Let's see. The third try, Toad runs, waves the kite over his head, so again, Toad runs, waves the kite over his head, and jumps up and down. I am going to have my finger crossed that hopefully that the kite will fly. Perhaps that will make it fly. Toad ran across the meadow again. He waved the kite over his head. He jumped up and down. The kite went up in the air and crashed into the grass. "This kite is drunk," said the robins. "Throw it away and go home." Again, they're being so mean. So we know that the first try, Toad runs fast. It didn't work. Second try, Toad runs and waves the kite over his head. Didn't work either. The third try, Toad runs, waves the kite over his head, and jumps up and down. Didn't work either. Poor Toad. Toad runs back to Frog. "This kite is junk," he said. "We should throw it away and go home." "Toad," said Frog, "we need one more try. Wave the kite over your head, jump up and down, and shout, 'Up, kite, up!'" So, now, let's see if this last try works. So Frog told Toad for Toad to run. So Toad runs, waves the kite, jumps up and down, and shouts or screams or hollers, "Up, Kite, jump! Up, Kite, up!" I put an exclamation point here because he's screaming it. So he runs, and then he waves the kite, and then he jumps up and down, and then he shouts, "Up, Kite, up!" I don't know, that's a good habit. Toad ran across the meadow. He waved the kite over his head. He jumped up and down. He shouted, "Up, Kite, up!" The kite flew into the air. Yay! It climbed higher and higher. "We did it!" cried Toad. "Yes," said Frog. If running try did not work, and running and waving try did not work, and running, waving, and jumping try did not work, I knew a running, waving, jumping, and shouting try had to work. The robins flew out of the bush, but they could not fly as high as the kite. Frog and Toad sat and watched their kite. It seemed to be flying way up at the top of the sky. So, Frog and Toad were able to fly their kite so high that the birds, who were pretty negative and saying that they weren't saying the not nicest things to Frog and Toad, were not even able to fly as high as the kite. The last question says, does this solve the problem? Does Toad running, waving the kite, jumping up and down, and shouting, "Up, Kite, up!" Does that solve the problem that we came up with up here? The kite will not fly? Does the kite fly? The kite does fly, you're right. So we say yes. Exclamation point, yes. The kite flies. Kite flies so high in the sky. So friends, what we noticed is at the beginning of the story, they had a huge problem. The kite just didn't fly. Even though they tried, it didn't fly. But as you see, they never gave up. That's called persistence. Persistence means even if things are hard or challenging, you're not getting it right away, you have to keep going. So keep going until you eventually get it. That's called persistence. And that's what Frog and Toad taught us. To keep going and going because eventually you'll get it. And of course, I know my first graders. I know that you're all awesome. And I know that if you keep going, you will all get it too. So friends, what you're going to do now is you're going to go on to Seesaw and fill out this worksheet. And this worksheet we filled out together. So if you have any moments, you have any, I don't know what to fill in here, you can always watch this video again, or you can look back through your story and find each one. Because we can find the problem, and we can find the first try, and we can find the second try. And we all definitely know the solution because we are all very smart first graders, and we also know how to look in our story to find our problems. Good luck, first graders, and happy Tuesday.